क्योंकि मोबाइल yes
हेलो।
you have started a recording
हाँ।
yes okay we will start gravitation
यस सर।
another important and easy chapter for our NEET gravitation so let's discuss the important points regarding to the gravity so we know that for the gravity we have a Kepler's law of planetary motion
यस सर।
Kepler's law for planetary motion. So there are three famous law planetary motion. So very first law is about the law of orbit. So we know that
यस।
all the planets which are revolving around their sun, so they are always revolving in a elliptical orbit. So very first law is known as the law of an orbit.
यस सर।
So all the planets, if this is considered as our sun, then the planet will revolve around this sun in a kind of this elliptical shape orbit.
यस सर।
So this is going to be the shortest distance of our planet. This should be the longest distance.
यस सर।
Our minimum and our maximum.
मैक्सिमम।
And the average of it is considered as an radius of this orbit. Our minimum and our maximum. So this is called the law of orbit. Then the
Yes.
second law, we know that it's for the aerial velocity like a planet which is revolving around its star. So a line joining the star and the planet, the line joining the star and the planet sweeps equal area in equal amount of time. So suppose
Yes, sir.
if we from t equals to 0 time to t equals to t time, that much area has been covered by the line which is joining our star and the planet, then the same amount of area will be covered if I start to draw this line from any of this point on this orbit. So let's take from this point, let's take my initial point and suppose in the same amount of time t,
Yes, sir.
planet is structured here. So this area is also equals to the first one. So
Yes,
we can
sir.
say that the aerial velocity is the constant one. So in our second law, where the aerial velocity is the constant, aerial velocity we already learned in the rotational motion, the geometrical interpretation of the angular momentum, where we learn about the aerial velocity for our any of the planet.
Yes,
So
sir.
that aerial velocity dA by dt is L by 2m, where L is the angular momentum
Hmm.
and m is the mass of the planet.
Yes, sir.
And the third law, third law is for the law of revolution, or we can say that law of periodic time.
Hmm.
So in this third law, so we know that the time taken by planet to complete one revolution,
Hmm.
so the square of it is proportional to the cube of the average radius. This we prove if we take our orbit as a circular orbit, because only for the circular orbit this law we can prove. And for our planetary system, this law has been valid by practical values, experimental values. Okay, Copernicus played an important role to derive this rule, but
Yes, sir.
he never make any proper statement about this law of the periodic time for the planets. Okay, but then Johannes Kepler, who just formulated and regularized this statement in the form of the planetary motions law. So that's why it's known as the Kepler's law for the planetary motion, an introductory part of the gravitation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, next is the Newton's law of gravitation. So let's see it. Shall I rub this
Hmm.
thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we have a Newton's law of gravity. So it's about the gravitational force. So Newton's law. For gravitational force. So this force is actually for the two stationary bodies.
Yes,
If
sir.
it is point size objects which are stationary at a certain distance, let's say this point, this particle having mass m1, this having mass m2, and the distance between these two, let's consider r. So the gravitational force between these two point size particles is directly proportional to the product of their mass and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them.
Yes, sir.
If I remove this proportionality sign, if we take this law, it will be F proportional to m1 m2 by r square. So that was the Newton's derivation. But we know that if we remove this proportionality sign, we have to place some constant. So that constant is G. Capital G is known as a universal gravitational constant, and this value of this capital G is
It's
6.67
uh, 11.
into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square upon kilogram square. This value has been observed by the British scientist Cavendish. Okay,
Yes, sir.
the experimental value of G has been derived by the Cavendish after many years of Newton's discovery for this gravitational law. Now, about this gravitational force, so it is the weakest force which we found in a nature. In nature, we have four governing forces. Okay, the gravitational force, the weakest one, then the weak force, which is the second highest force,
Hmm.
sorry, third highest force. Then we have an electromagnetic force, which we already studied in 12th standard. Okay, and the
Yes, sir.
most powerful is the strong force or the strong nuclear force, which execute between proton, proton, and proton, neutron. Okay, so these four are the governing forces, and in all these forces, the Newton's gravitational force or the gravitational force is the weakest one. Okay, it is only an attractive type of nature, only attractive in nature, only attractive in nature. Second thing about, of course, we know it's the weakest one, but remember that this gravitational force is not depending on any type of medium,
Yes, sir.
independent of the medium. We can say that. Independent of the
Yeah.
medium. Okay. So this is the few things about the Newton's law of gravitational force between any
Yes.
two particles. Then always remember that this force is only execute between the two particles. It means that if we have a more than a few particles or more than a two particles, and if we want to try to calculate the total gravitational force, then every time we will consider the gravitational force between only two particles. And when we discuss the gravitational force between two particles, at that time we are not supposed to thinking about the other particles. Okay, like
Yes.
we have few particles like this. This is the first particle M1 having distance R1. This is the second one M2 and R2. Now the gravitational force between these two particles. So first of all, draw a line which is joining these two particles. So let's join them. Now, if I say F12, it means that force on
One.
1 by 2. So this second particle will execute the force, but it's an attractive type of force. So we know that in attractive type of force, what happened? This particle M2, it's tried to attract this M1. So the direction of the force is towards this second particle.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you say that? So that is called our F12.
Hmm.
Now, these forces are mutually interactive force. Gravitational force is the mutually interactive force. What is the meaning of mutual interactive force? Mutual interactive force, it means that if the first particle apply force on the second one, then the second
Yes.
particle at the same time apply the similar amount of force on the first one, but
Yes.
opposite directions. So now
Opposite
this second
direction.
particle is apply force on this one. So definitely the first particle is also going to apply the force on this second one. Same amount. Both the forces are working for the same time. F21. Both having the same magnitude but opposite in direction. So that is called the mutual interactive forces. And the gravitational force is working like that. Only because of that, all the particles are actually present on their original position because of
Yes, sir.
this reason. Like Earth applying force on me, then I am also applying force on Earth, and both the values are same but in opposite direction. So the net
Hmm.
force acting on myself is zero. That's why I am standing on the Earth or on this surface right now. So similarly, the net force on the Earth is zero. So that's why Earth is also stay at its original position. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Similar thing happened between any two bodies. Okay, that was the Newton's observation. Now, if I write down the vector form of this F12, so it's G M1 M2 upon R12 square times unit vector of r12. We know the definition of unit vector. It is the vector over its magnitude.
Yeah.
R12 will be R2 minus R1. R12, it's called R2 minus R1. Now we have so many other particles, like let's say call it M3, let's say M4, up to Mn. But when we discuss the force between 1 and 2, then we are not talking about any other particle. We just simply neglect them or just forget about it. Okay.
Yes.
Whenever the gravitational force is acting between two bodies, then it is only depending on those two bodies. At that time, whatever the other particles are there, they are good for nothing, or we can say that they are going to do nothing. Similarly, if I discuss about the force between 2 and 3, at that time we will only discuss about the second particle and the third particle. At that time, we are not going to discuss about the force by the first particle on the second one.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And then after, if you want to find out any total force on this first particle, like all the forces or all the particles are applying gravitational force on the first one. Okay, even at that time, like on the one, we can say that force on 1 by 2, so that is F12. So when we discuss about F12, at that time we are not going to discuss of the other particles. Okay,
Yes.
even all the particles are applying forces, but whenever we discuss the force, we will take or we will discuss only two particles at that time. Similarly, the third particle will apply force on the first one, then force on 1 by 3. Similarly, force on 1 by 4, and so on. Force on 1 by n. But whenever we discuss about the force, we are discussing only about those two particles, and we are not worrying about the effect of the other one. Is that clear? About the Newton's law of gravitation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's have one or two questions regarding this.
Yes, sir.
But first, only discuss about the theoretical part. Okay, then we will go
Yes.
for the numerical parts.
Hmm.
Okay, shall I rub this thing?
Yes, sir.
Now, due to the force apply on any body, so because of the force, there will be some effect, and that effect is known as the gravitational acceleration. So,
Yes, sir.
acceleration due to gravity is called the gravitational acceleration. Acceleration due to gravity, or we can say that due to the gravitational force. So let's take Earth. Having mass m, radius capital R, and we consider any object having mass small m at certain height from the surface of the earth. So the total distance, if we consider small r, then that total distance is r plus h. So on this object, the gravitational pull of the earth, or the gravitational force of the earth, that is gmm over r square. Okay, so because of this gravitational force, this object is move or attracted towards the earth and feel some force, so that resultant force is called ma, which we know. So the
Yes, sir.
acceleration, but this acceleration due to the gravity, so we call it
PM.
g, which is gm by r square, which is gm by r square. So that is the gravitational acceleration.
Yes, sir.
Object is on the surface of the earth.
Hmm.
So on the surface, we know that small r equals to capital R because our height is 0. So at that time, it is called GE, gravitational acceleration on surface, which is gm by r square, and its value is nearly equal to 10 meter per second square. Its experimental value we widely accept 9.8, but for our competitive part of the examination, where our calculator is not allowed, so at that time we can consider that it's nearly about the 10 meter per second square, and which is
Yes,
constant everywhere on this surface of the earth. Okay, almost constant.
yes,
One thing about this gravitational acceleration, so we can say that about our gravitational acceleration is not depending on the mass of the body. Like if we make a free fall of an elephant and free fall of a cat from a similar
yes,
height, then both will experience the same amount of gravitational acceleration. Wait, okay, Earth will
yes,
pull them with the same acceleration, because in this acceleration we cannot find out mass of the object itself. Okay.
yes. Sir,
Yes.
sir, in first case, it is on the surface or above the surface?
No, this one is the about the surface, any of the point. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is the second case where we consider only on the surface. Okay. First
Yes, sir.
point is anywhere above the surface. Okay. Any of
Yes,
the
sir.
height.
Sir, means formula is same?
Yes. So this is the acceleration due to the gravity. Now, this gravitational acceleration is also affected by height as well as by the depth as well as by the rotation of the earth around its axis. We can
Yes,
say
sir.
that change in gravity. So change in gravity or gravitational acceleration. So this change, first change is due to height. So we have to consider according to height how this gravitational acceleration is changes. But
Yes,
we have to consider that this height should be very less than of r. So we can say that up to 50 to 100 kilometer. Okay, that is the considerable height where this change
sir.
is applicable. Okay, not more
Yes,
than the bigger distances, because this is our vital condition. So only for the smaller values of our height, this formula will work. So at any height, let's take that much height, having an object m. So at this point, the gravitational acceleration gh is gm over small r square. That small r square is r plus h full square. If I take capital R, take common or outside the bracket, due to the square, r square will come out,
yes,
and
sir.
1 plus h over r whole square. Now, this gm by r square, it's called GE, the gravitational acceleration on the surface of the earth. And I will take this whole term in our numerator. So 1 plus h by r raised to minus 2. Now, whenever we have such kind of awkward powers like -1, -1 by 2, -2, 1 by 2, 2 by 3. Okay. At that
Yes,
time,
sir.
we can use the binomial expansion. And in binomial expansion, our second term must be very, very less than 1. So since it is given that h is very, very less than r, so if I take this r in the denominator of this height h, you will get this condition. So in our
Yes.
binomial expansion, so we know that just take this power with this second term. So this is going to be the change in gravitational acceleration due to the height, but only up to the certain limit of height. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This formula is not going to be work if we take our height as a 500 kilometer or 600 kilometer or even 1,000 kilometer. Okay, it will work
Yes.
only up to the 100 kilometer. This formula is applicable only up to the height of the 100 kilometer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, in this first equation, is that square on 1 plus h upon r?
Yes. So 1 plus h over r whole square. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then we have a gravitational change in gravity due to the depth.
Yes, sir.
So due to that, let's see. Due to depth. Take the earth. This is the radius r. And suppose we are somewhere here, any object at some depth d. But for the depth, we don't have any conditional value like the previous one. So our object is somewhere here. Now always remember that whenever we consider about the gravitational acceleration or the electric field or the magnetic field, according
Yes.
by the sphere. So how it works? It's simple for phenomena is wherever we stand from that point, take an imaginary radius up to the center of the earth and then
Yes.
make a sphere. In that sphere, whatever the volume or whatever the mass of the earth will be fit, only that much amount of earth or only that much part of that earth will execute a gravitational force on me or on us. So if this body is somewhere here, so this I can take small r as a radius. So in this small r radius, we can say that only that much amount of earth is present. So only this amount of earth will execute a gravitational force on this one. We know that the total
Yes.
mass of the earth is capital M, but for this, let's consider it's an M dash. So
Yes,
because of
sir.
this M dash or M prime, the gravitational acceleration will be Gm dash over r square. Consider the density of the earth is uniform. So mass equals to density times volume. So it's 4 by 3 pi r cube. In denominator, we already have an r square. So this GD is G rho 4 by 3 pi times r. This term is the whole term as a constant. So this G of D is proportional to r. So as the r is increased from the center of the earth, so do the
Yes, sir.
gravitational acceleration is also increased because as this distance increases, so the more and more earth will come and more the mass will be there and hence the gravitational acceleration will be increased. And
Yes, sir.
when we put on the surface of the earth, the total earth will apply the gravitational force on us. So at the surface, we can say that our gravitational acceleration is the maximum.
Yes,
According
sir.
to the formula, at surface, small r equals to the capital R. So this GE equals to G rho 4 by 3 pi capital R. And if we take the ratio of this two terms, GD and GE, so we know that what we have left, it will be small r upon capital R. Small r, we can say that r minus d. According to this diagram, that much distance is r. The remaining
Yes.
is d. So this is r minus d over r. So this change is valid up to the center of the earth. GE. Okay, this formula is valid in the center of the earth, and from this we have a graph. The gravitational acceleration varies with the distance r from center of the earth to the surface of the earth and above the surface of the earth. So from the center, according to this formula, at the center of the earth, our gravitational acceleration is zero.
Yes, sir.
According to this formula, if we take this r equals to zero, so we will on the center of the earth, and at the center there is no earth which is going to apply any gravitational force on us, so no acceleration is there. But since it's a directly proportional, so it's a linear relation. So it will be a straight line till the surface of the earth. This r equals to capital R. So we will have the maximum value. We can take 9.8 or the 10 meter per second square.
Yes.
This G proportional to R, and outside the earth is G proportional to 1 over R square, and it's continuously decreasing. So that the variation of G with R, you can say that is due to the depth. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yes.
sir, this first formula, when we have to use this with rho,
Which one? Which one?
so this G rho 4 by 3 pi r.
This formula you can apply whenever you have been asked for any gravitational acceleration on any unknown planet, then still you are able to apply this formula, as well as instead of mass you have been given a density and radius. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you have been given a density and radius, then also you are able to use this formula. Like we have a question that the density of earth. Shall I write this?
Yes, sir.
So we have a one question like density of the earth is rho and radius is r. Okay. So we have a gravitational acceleration 10 meter per second square. Okay. Now we have a planet where density is 2 rho and radius is r by 3 times the earth. Okay. Density is twice as the earth, but the radius is 1/3 of the earth. So at that time, you have to calculate the gravitational acceleration of that planet. What will be the answer?
Sir, so 3.3.
Okay, let's check it out. By this formula, this G is proportional to rho into R. So this G of planet by Earth 2 rho into R by 3 divided by rho into r. Cancelled. So it will be 2 by 3 times 10. So nearly about 6.6 meter per
Yes, sir.
second.
Proper to multiply.
Okay, approximate 6.6 plus 6.7 meter per second square. So that will be the gravitational acceleration on this unknown planet. So by that way, you can compare the gravitational acceleration of the other planets with the help of this formula, where mass is not given, but that is not going to be any issue since we have density and the radius. Okay,
Yes.
and now the gravitational acceleration due to the rotation of the Earth. So let's find out the change due to the rotation. So due to the angular rotation, so this is our line of equator. Where our altitude is 0. Let's say theta equal to 0. And our Earth is rotating with certain constant angular speed, omega.
Yes, sir.
So let's take a point P somewhere here at some angle theta. Here I place any object M. So the the gravitational acceleration is always towards the center. So that will be the mg. But
Yes, sir.
this body is rotating, and this is the axis of rotation. So the centrifugal acceleration or centrifugal force, mv square by r will be here. And mv square by r is called mr times omega square. You can say that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if I take the adjacent component of this force, it will be mr omega square cos theta. So, any object which is on the surface of the earth experience this two type of forces. One is the gravitational force, we can say that mg, and the other force is the centrifugal force component mr omega square cos theta.
Yes, sir.
So the resultant force, the net force, if I consider, then it will be mg effective, which is mg minus mr omega square cos theta. From this equation, we can also consider that if this force is going to be zero, then we have only the force mg. Okay.
Yes, sir.
At present, this force is acting on us. At present, this force
Yes,
is
sir.
acting on us, which is mg minus mr omega square cos theta. But if I take this centrifugal force zero, then only the weight force mg will acting on me.
Yes,
So
sir.
at that time, I will feel that my weight is little bit increased.
Huh.
Or
Yes, sir.
okay. And similar thing happened when any object or any person is moving from equator to the poles. Because at the pole, this cos theta is going to be zero because theta equals to 90. So cos
90.
90
Yes.
is zero. So this the centrifugal force is going to be zero on the.
Yes, sir.
So at the poles, we can feel that our weight is little bit increased.
Increased. Yes, sir.
So now this G effective is G minus r omega square cos theta. This is our radius r. If this angle is theta, definitely this angle is also theta. Okay. So for this
Yes.
r, it is going to be its adjacent component r cos theta. If I place the value of small r equals to r cos theta, because it is little bit difficult for us to calculate this small r, but it is very easy to calculate this capital R because it's the radius of our earth. So we
Yes.
already remember its value. G minus R omega square cos theta into cos theta, so it will be cos square theta. So this is the effective G due to the rotation. Sometimes it
Yes,
is
sir.
also asked the question like that. If Earth is rotating and right now its a periodic time is 24 hour nearly equal to that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But what happens if Earth is increasing its speed on the equator and somehow, so if G effective becomes 0 on equator, then what will be the time of rotation for the Earth? We have this question.
Yes, sir. So
Is G minus R omega square equals to 0
yes, sir.
square equals to G over R. Omega is 2 pi by T equals to square root of G by R. So in terms of formula, we can say that this T equals to 2 pi times square root of R by G. And if we place the value 2 pi, this R is 6,400 kilometer. If I convert kilometer into meter, I have to multiply with 3 again. G, that is the
Yes,
value of, so it's simple. 2 pi square root of 6,400 is 80. Here I will have only 100 and square root of 100 is 10. This is 6.28. 2 pi
yes,
multiplied by 80, so it's nearly about 500 multiplied by 10. So we can say that a 5,000 second, nearly about 86 minutes.
yes, sir.
So if Earth is moving, we can also say that if Earth is moving in such a way that having its time period or rotation period is 5,000 seconds, at that time the effective G on us on the equator is also going to be 0.
Yes, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So we will stop here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.